Last we left off, after gathering themselves for just a moment in the wake of the battle with Buddy, Zenesha confronted Basil, holding him over the cliff face, having realized he was, in fact, not a Dragonborn, but instead a Yuan-Ti blood-cursed, kin to those that slaughtered her family some years ago. After a brief altercation that was settled by the intervention of others in the party and Zenesha demanding that Basil should swear to assist her in hunting those that had wronged her, which Basil obliged, the group finally settled into the calm, observing the destruction wrought by Buddy, the cult of the White Skull, and whatever this entity was that had been unleashed on the city. In short time, horns could be heard in the distance and echoing through the city, which are quickly followed up by deep and resonant wing beats, approaching the Forge Force's position. In quick succession, dozens of Wyvern Riders descended upon the team, quickly surrounding them. One stood out from the rest, a staggering in stature silver Dragonborn, sporting a golden cloak of a City Watch commander, riding atop a rather large cerulean wyvern. Introducing himself as Commander Fundra, it was learned that he had received correspondence from Commander Lucinda Steele a number of days prior, whom was his mentor, to get the Forge Force through to the other side of the Wunyan Gates in short order upon their arrival. After a short search for a way to send word, a message was sent to Gilmore, who still languishes in a cell in Zingorn, informing of the betrayal of Buddy and his affiliations with the cult of the White Skull. As the commander dismissed his soldiers, he privately escorted the group to the customs transfer of the Wunyan Gates, advising that they should not return to the new empire for a time, as there needed to be work done to protect them. They were also advised that both himself and Lucinda were risking a great deal in doing so. In the queue for the customs officer, the party encountered Drak, a humble in appearance human of advanced age and blinded eyes, pulling a handcart of fresh green cabbages. After some thievery and introductions, protection was offered for Drak in his travels to Nicodronis, but not before everyone took a well-deserved and much-needed rest at a lavish hotel on the consortium side of Wuyun. Prior to bedding down for the night, all traveled together in search of supplies and potions, where Zenesha happened to find her favorite kind of vendor. With potions in hand and some experiments done with spitting on that thing, finally everyone made their way to rest. Syranos nearly died in a magical ice bath, and Sashem scheduled a private massage. Traveling in the morning proceeded with ease, after checking with the alchemist on the way out, and the Menagerie coast lay glittering on the horizon ahead of them. A time into their journey, as night fell, Drak's cabbages were stolen away by a conniving kobold who absconded into a small pocket dimension a short distance into the air, but not until rhyming obscenities at the team. Arni watched from outside as the small opening erupted with flame and screams, and everyone came crashing to the ground amid utterly ruined cabbages, only to find that Squelch was no more.
And that is where we come back to the group, now resting there on the ground after being ejected from the subdimensional space created by the Kobold spellcaster. Who would like to do what?
Well, I know we gathered up the cabbages and I stuck what was left in the bag.
Yes. And it's effectively at that moment that we're rejoining everything. Basil, you're still a little coated with the charred remains of the Kobold Squelch.
Is there, any water nearby to, wash off, or...?
No, you're kind of in the middle of the plains, so you could use your water skin if you'd like, of course.
I'm just gonna dust off as best I can and clean up later.
Fair enough. It is kind of the middle of the night, and all of your rest has been duly interrupted by this series of events.
I'm gonna climb up a tree a little ways and just relax and try to go back to sleep.
Okay. And there are a number of trees around. You can tell, looking into the distance, even in the dark, that as things continue, it is going to become a bit more difficult to find forested areas as things transition from the Marrow Valley of Wildmount to the Menagerie Coast. Who would like to take the next watch? As everyone beds back down to attempt to resume their rest.
I'll take a watch. I've still got to shake off this fear of heights. Nothing good comes from trying to climb anywhere.
Great, because apparently my watch last time ended up in a ridiculous mess, so I'm going to bed.
Fair enough. Yeah, go ahead and roll a perception check, Arni.
Best use.
Coming right up. That's a 7.
A 7. Okay. Pretty drowsy, getting woken up. The adrenaline kicked in a bit, but now that it's faded, not only are you a bit unrested, but there's also the crash post-adrenaline. And it's got your senses pretty dulled. Your watch does go by without event. There would need to be 2 more watches in order to complete a long rest for everyone. So, who's next?
Zenesha will take a watch.
Okay, you go ahead and roll a perception check. And if at any time there's something anyone wants to accomplish during their watch, just let me know. Did that come through?
Yeah, it's a 13.
Oh, mine aren't showing up. Oh, there we go. It just updated. The 13. You know, what you do notice is kind of just the shift in atmosphere that's taken place since coming out the other side of the Wuyin Gates. The cold nights were biting on that other side. But it seems these gates hold back more than just, the borders of a country. The climate is undergoing a pretty rapid shift. And the night, while still chilled, it does not feel like winter. Looking up, the sky is clear. Stars visible. And even one shooting darts across the sky. But your watch does go by without issue. Who is the last and final watch would be the morning. But I imagine that would be Syranos, given his desire to do that pretty consistently. So I'll roll for him real quick. Okay. You all do wake in the morning as the sun rises early in the east. The warm rays beating on all of your skin as you exit your tents and for Drak, your tree. The day is yours.
I would like to spar with Syranos.
Okay. So let's the objective of this is just proficiency, right? You're just trying to get better. So just go ahead and roll a d20 for me.
$18.
18. You feel like you're definitely starting to retain some of the lessons. Syranos is knowledgeable. That's not to say that he's like some prodigy talent by any means. His skill is by effort. And you're getting there. Is there anything else anyone would like to achieve in the morning? All right. Oh, go ahead.
Drak's gonna just jump down and scan the pile of leftover cabbages, see if there's anything they missed in the dark.
Yeah, just go ahead and make an investigation check.
$14.
All right. And by the way, thanks for the message, Tylor. You all do earn a long rest again for that. As while there was combat, it was quite brief. Among the cabbages, Drak, I mean, there's some that last night likely would have been recoverable, but having sat out through the night, not protected, all manner of vermin have found them. Not really a lot of hope.
You'll just hear Drak say, "Stupid kobolds." Start walking and waiting to go the direction that we were all headed.
I
Arnie's
take it
gonna
you'd all
grab one of the ones that had been cooked by the fireball and hold it out to Drak and be like, "Breakfast?"
He's not going to pay attention.
Yeah, some of them, like the smell was nice after it, once the smell of burning flesh faded. But most of the cabbage that was cooked was burned beyond consumption. As you all gather to continue your trek, now all on foot with no cart, southward to Nicodranus, who would like to roll for the day's events? All right, Drak, go ahead and with a roll 20, D20 rather.
That's a 12.
12. Okay. The weather is fair. The day feels a bit long as you don't run into a lot of people during this specific stretch. Drak, you've made this travel a number of times. Basil, you've made this trek but the other direction. These plains outside of Wuyun are expansive, and there is not a lot going on. It's boring. It's really boring. Zenesha, you're reminded for a moment about how these times would be filled with impromptu sparring sessions with a partner who's no longer available. But the day does go, for the most part, while boring, without event.
As the group approaches Nicodranus, Arni's kind of been thinking about this for the day so far, and finally he decides to take off his red cloak and tuck it away into his bag, and not really wanting to be picked out as a authority figure in an area where he holds no authority. And he feels that he is probably safer for him and the rest of the party to stash the cloak for now.
Certainly fair enough. And it's easy enough for you all to see that Arni does tuck away his captain's cloak. No longer in the Empire. Who would like to take the first watch for this night? Not Sashem.
Drak will.
All right, Drak, go ahead and roll a perception check for the first watch.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. There are a number of creatures, not stalking you, but that are present around you. You get the sense that a couple may be small predators, like bobcat level things. Nothing that's necessarily a risk to people. But there's life around. But your watch does go by without incident. Who would take the second?
I can take the second.
Arni will.
Oh,
No, go ahead,
Go for
Basil.
it. Basil was first. Go ahead, Basil.
All right.
During his watch, I'm just going to stay up a little bit with him and inspect my quarterstaff.
10.
Okay. A 10. All right. The night stays a bit warmer than even the last before. It's kind of nice. The humidity's climbing, though. You can kind of tell that if this warmth persists through to the next day, it's going to be hot. And that's, given where you've come from, it's actually welcome. Some of the others might not agree.
It's nice.
Are you looking to have a conversation, Drak, or just hanging out?
No, he just wants to make sure his quarterstaff is in good shape from the explosion. That's all.
Okay.
It's just a normal old quarterstaff, so he's got to be careful.
Looking over it, there's some smudges and soot. There's nothing you can do about that. The toe of it that you've occasionally used to walk or to climb yourself up over a hill, it's wearing, but it's serviceable.
I need to trade this one in soon. I'm off to bed, Basil.
Sleep well. It's a good night.
Basil, as you look out, stars, but more specifically the shadows, I'm going to bring you over to another channel. You made a call to something in the battle with Buddy. You've very, very faintly, very, very, minutely educated yourself on some of the things that are in the world. You're experienced. You know of gods. You know of deities. You know of what clerics and paladins are, what warlocks are. Some of your power, some of the things you manifest, you know that you have not sworn fealty or anything, or pacted with anything. Yet, you exhibit some of those same kinds of powers. The ability to ignite your blade in a brilliant green flame, for instance. And you know that you can feel in the distance, in your future, more power is there within reach, with training, with focus. But it's while you ponder exactly this, while you consider that this power is not coming from something, that a voice, gentle but hissing, slips into your mind. Basil.
Look around and try and see if there's anything around.
It's not long after you try to look around that you recognize the sound is not from without. It's inside. So,
Hello?
child of the serpent,
No, I think you have the wrong person.
You call me. And your mind racks with a little bit of pain. You actually take 2 points of psychic damage. But the voice falls silent. I'll go back to the other channel.
Okay.
Basil, the rest of your watch goes by uneventfully. And through Syranos' watch in the morning as well. You all again rest, though Basil, you do not recover from that. A new day again, this time not quite a sweltering heat, at least here in the morning, but heat nonetheless. It's beginning to rise. Who would like to roll for the day's events?
Well, I would like to practice with Syranos again.
Okay. Yeah, that roll is kind of a persistent one.
Okay.
So we're kind of just
Perfect.
moving forward with the assumption that that's a practice that continues.
Great. As long as it was in high number, I'm okay.
So what does rolling for the day's events entail?
Just rolling a d20, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
A
19.
19. Okay.
Either
Overhead.
good or bad.
Overhead, later in the day, probably about 2 o'clock, an airship begins to pass by. Not massive by any means, not like the diplomat's call that appeared over the Wuyun gates when you were headed there, but still an airship nonetheless. That hum in the distance that begins behind you from the Wuyun gates, just ooh, as it grows closer. You can all see it on the horizon, closing distance, moving over the road.
So, like, it would be close enough that we could communicate with them, or just like, how high up above us are we talking about here?
Well, airships generally only fly 100, 150 feet off the ground most of the time, unless they're intentionally going over something. So, depending on what you do, maybe you could. And you all do hear and see it at this point. And within the next couple minutes, it's going to be overhead. A couple minutes after that, it'll be off to the horizon.
Hey, Drak, how come you've never taken an airship with all that money you got?
It's too fancy.
No such thing as long as your cabbages are safe, right?
The wooden cart is always how it's done.
So you don't want my metal cart when we get to Nicodranis?
Depends on how much metal there is.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I'm not a woodworker, so... How do
Can
you
you imagine-
really get your money?
Selling cabbages.
Why do I not believe that? What was that, Arni?
I was just saying, can you imagine owning one of them things? You wouldn't have to walk everywhere. But then again, I'm not setting foot up on one of those things. I'm staying right here on the ground.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you'd have to have the money also to, pay for a crew.
But
It's not like
perhaps if I hired one to pull me in a wagon on the ground, I could make it work.
Arni, why don't you just get a horse? Or have some kind of sorcery done to where the wagon pulls itself.
Arnie's gonna be like, why didn't I think of that?
I'll carry you.
There you go.
Seems to be Zenesha's
Glowering
thing
at
lately.
Zenesha, like baring my teeth.
No one tosses a dwarf. At this point, the airship is about to be overhead. If there are going to be any attempts to communicate, now would be the time.
Is this by chance one Drak might recognize from his journeys back and forth?
Make a history check.
I don't want it. Okay. It's a 7.
It's a 7. You know, you see a great number of them. And here, looking at the face of it on its way to you, and you know that, it's gonna kind of be passing directly over you. It's gonna be hard to get a really good eye on who it belongs to.
Okay.
Everyone gonna be letting it pass and continuing on your journey?
No, I'm gonna go ahead and just be fun. Stupid rich people, and I'm gonna sacred flame next to it. Scare them a little bit.
Okay. Sacred Flame can only target something. It can't target nothing.
Do they have a flag on it?
Yeah, but that'd be 150 feet up in the air.
Ah, crap. Never mind. Dang it. Right.
I mean, you have other spells that have more considerable
but I was
range,
like-
but...
Oh, let's guiding bolt it just for funsies.
So are you setting just a wide shot, just a woof?
Yeah, just a woof.
Okay. Just go ahead and roll an attack for me. Ranged spell attack. Just in case.
You gotta be kidding me. This is gonna be bad. It's a nat 1, so it ends up being a 6.
Well, so a natural one means that your intention is not a...
Got their attention.
The airship is a touch lower than you expected. It's actually only about 100 feet off of the ground. And your bolt right on the edge railing, splintering a little bit of the wood, sending it showering off to the ground.
Oops.
What
After a
in
moment.
the hell did you just do?
First you
It was-
damaged my cabbage, and now you're damaging a ship?
Whoa. I didn't
Arnie's gonna
damage
start backing
stinking
away
jack.
from the road with a shield over his head.
Yeah, you guys can hear a bell ringing up there. Cling, 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 cling. And the airship is slowing.
I just thought it would be funny. Come on, it's not even a big deal. It's not like I hit anybody.
I'm going to turn to
And you're-
everybody but Sashem. Run! Leave
Are
him
you all
Why?
running?
Your
The
cabbage
cabbage man
is
speaks
your fault.
wisdom.
Why are you running?
Let's run.
Right. So who's running and who's staying?
I'm booking it with
running?
my shield over my head.
Of course. Everyone running?
I'm going to get out of range of if they try to drop anything down.
I'm out of here.
Okay.
I'm just gonna
It
move
seems-
underneath the tree until it comes down. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna see.
Okay. I imagine Syranos would stay with you, Sashem, given his nature. But what about you, Zenesha?
She's also staying with Sashem.
Okay. So, Basil, Drak, and Arni are out of here. In a number of seconds, they are well out of range. Sashem, Zenesha, and Syranos. It only takes about a minute for the airship, one, to come to a stop. Probably about 100 feet ahead of you, but then a slow swing down and kind of comes broadside, almost blocking the road with its large form. It doesn't fully land on the ground, as it doesn't have, landing gear, but it hovers at a quite low level, low enough that a number of ladders are lowered down. And for those that run past, I imagine after seeing the distance that you've made, at this point you'd be about 300 feet down the road, but you can very, very clearly see and hear the airship has stopped at the ground and is now in between all of you and the three that stayed behind. Is there anybody looking to do anything specific before?
I'm gonna walk up to the ladder.
I'll stop booking it and see what's going to happen. Slowly start
Okay.
creeping back.
Okay, trying to be stealthy or no?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, go ahead and roll stealth check.
Hey,
Basil, Arni, what about you?
now's our chance to hitch a ride if you want to try it.
Arni is going to just try to take cover, fearing for any kind of like projectile fire from the aircraft.
Okay, so also go ahead and roll stealth check. Basil, are you moving with Drak?
Yeah.
Okay, also make a stealth check. Zenesha, Syranos, and Sashem. As Sashem moves to make his way over to the ladder, you do see a number of people descending. Their clothes are extravagant, flamboyant, even almost theatrical in nature. Climbing down and stepping onto the dirt, being very, very careful to lift their coattails that are exceptionally long and dresses up off of the soil. They do with a scour on their face. Sashem look to you, and one of them, a woman, walks forward and says, pointing back to, they have turned the side of the ship that you just broke to face you. Would you mind explaining this, please?
Sorry, it was an accident. We were sparring and we got a little carried away. So I just really bad aim and it was just bad. I'm sorry. It's totally on me. Totally on me.
Make a deception check. You know, you did the kernel of truth part, which made it not disadvantage, saying that it was on you.
14.
14? Okay. She is actively... this is such a bother. You are one
I'm sorry,
of...
but I just was gonna apologize some more profusely. Yes, go ahead. What?
You are one of divine magics?
Oh, yeah.
Hmm. Can you fix it?
I don't do wood. I do metal. I could do metal. Would it make it too heavy? How does it work? I've never been on one. I don't. This is the closest I've ever been to one in my life.
You bore me. And she goes and she climbs back up the ladder.
Wait a second! I want to climb up the ladder with her.
You're going to try to climb up the ladder too?
I'm gonna try and climb up the ladder with her,
So
like
that's
right
just
behind
gonna
her.
try and stop him, like grab him by the
Oh, okay.
keep him from climbing.
Yeah, so opposed dexterity checks here. Zenesha and Sashem.
That one.
Oh,
A 3 and a 2. What in the world?
your nat one shouldn't be anything.
Okay. To put into perspective what this looks like, so she dismisses you, right, and turns to go and up the ladder. What ensues is nothing short of a Three Stooges montage of clambering over each other, Sashem trying to climb up the ladder, Zenesha bopping him on the head. It's like, it's ridiculous. But Sashem, in the end, you do prevail. And you are about 3 steps up the ladder when at the top you hear sing, and the ladder goes slack and drops to the ground. And she leans over the edge with a small dagger in her hand, looking down to you and goes, I do not think this is a good course of action for you. It may be best to leave things where they lie, as she says that to you, lying on your back.
I'm gonna get up slightly and go, I can make you a better dagger than that one. It wouldn't have taken as long to saw me off.
Make a persuasion check.
Did you say that the craft had landed between us and them?
Between the two groups, yes.
So
And at this
we're-
point, another 40 seconds has passed. So really, give or take your stealth,
We're
you could
cutting
be
off.
as
It's
close
cut
as
off
you'd
our
like.
view of what's going on.
No, because the craft is still about 10 feet off the ground.
Oh,
so you can
okay.
kind of see under it. It's just the ladder was spilled off the edge. Sashem, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if they haven't noticed me when us coming up from behind, I'd like to have climbed up onto the deck from the other side.
Oh my god. Okay, I didn't know you were going that far with it. What was your stealth check, Drak? It was 14. Okay, I gotta roll some perceptions.
Basil, has everyone here lost their minds?
What else are we gonna do on this plane? It's boring. It's a long walk.
Don't tell me you're about to climb up on that thing too.
It's
Drak,
fun. Just join us.
deftly, you are able to leap from the ground to latch onto the bottom of the ship, and you slowly, grabbing planks and loose sections and reaching your hands into knots in the wood, you are at least in a position now that could pull yourself up to look over the edge across the deck of the ship. But Sashem,
Go ahead.
we'll come back to you, Drak, because a lot of that time was elapsed just you guys covering the 300-foot distance that you had put between you. Sashem, she looks over. Show me. And she drops the dagger, point down at you. Make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, crap. What a nightmare she is. No! 2!
Oh.
Zenesha, try and catch
I
it.
don't want to take a turn.
Yeah, Zenesha, given that you were paying attention to all of this and actively trying to stop Sashem, I'd say you could make a shot at a dexterity saving throw as well.
I was gonna say, watch this be like Thor's dagger.
No.
I'm not that mean. Ka-punk. Oh, Sashem's dead. A 12? I mean, that has to beat her attack. Since we're making it that. Nope. Yeah, no, you swipe at it, Zenesha, but it's just past you. Sashem, you kind of just don't react in time. And the space right here, where you go from the solid breastplate to kind of the scale, and you take...
Love it.
5 points of piercing damage.
Lovely.
And it is currently lodged in between your ribs. Feels like it just about hit along.
I am going to remove it. And I'm going to hold it between my hands. Rolling my eyes, I'm going to channel divinity. And I'm going to make it sharper, as well as put in a nice fancy design in the blade.
Okay, so how fancy are we talking? Like, is this going to be a mastercraft artwork, or is this going to be something you could
Definitely,
find in the
because
shop?
I want to get her intrigued since I'm boring. So
Okay, all
this is
right.
way more fun than Lana.
Okay, just go ahead and roll a d20. See how this will kind of match your design aesthetic to her tastes.
Hey, 17.
Okay.
Why can I not get stabbed, but I can do fancy artwork?
Just like Zenesha, right? The blade does turn out beautiful. You reshape a bit of the handle. It did have like a wood handle with a wrapped leather, so there wasn't much you could do with that, except that you kind of gave it this way that the metal around the pommel and the guard kind of like almost integrated and reached into the winding. It's actually quite beautiful. It's up to you if you want to actually try to give it back to her.
Yeah, I don't have a use for a pretty dagger. I'm gonna actually, instead of like, I'm still on the ground too, so I'm just gonna
Yeah,
go
you're
ahead
still
and
flat on the ground.
Hey, Zenesha, you want to throw that back up there?
Yeah.
Oh God.
So, are they like standing next to a pole or anything?
There's like 8 people that are just like, generally leaning over the edge, looking at you.
So they have their hands on the railing then.
A number of them. Some are just leaning.
She's going to attempt to get the dagger to stick right in between 2 hands that are on the railing. And if it misses, oh
Okay. Okay. Let's have you roll a ranged attack.
17.
Okay. Given that it's only about, 10-ish, more like 15 feet away, considering the bottom of the ship is 10 feet away, it is sticking in the railing, and she walks over, pushes the other half-orc aside, that is the one that kind of where the dagger landed. And she looks at it and pulls it away. Invite them up. And another pair of ladders are cast down. Drak is at this point that you kind of see all of this transpire. And, now you've been invited up.
They have
Basil and Arni. Yeah, Basil and Arni, you will have overheard this as well.
I'm gonna gracefully climb over the railing while they're all looking away.
I'm
And they are all looking away.
gonna reach up my hand to Zenesha, and hopefully she'll pull me up, so that way I can stand up and not be all goobery in my armor.
Yeah, she'll help. And then, like, the ladder that they cut down that's just laying on the ground, she's gonna pick it up.
Okay. Yeah. I'll work on returning that. Arni and Basil, you guys gonna make your way to the ladders and come up as well?
I was following Drak. Just climbing up the
Oh,
side.
okay. You're, yeah. So, Drak makes it up to the top without noise. But it's as you pull yourself up over the edge, your blade kind of clang, clang, clang. As you pull yourself up, and like 6 or 7 people turn around and are just staring at you.
Hello?
I imagine I'm right next to him.
You would be, yes.
I reach into my bag. Anybody want a cabbage? Only 150 gold.
And they all just
cabbages in the world.
everyone bursts out laughing. Just who are these people? And you are welcomed onto the ship. Everyone makes their way up. Syranos looking around with just a little bit of unease at the developments of this situation. But it's when all of you have made your way all the way onto the ship that you look around, and it doesn't take much to recognize that this is some kind of performing troupe. There are a good number of very extravagantly dressed individuals. They are not made up right now, but their clothes are flashy, to say the least. The kind of thing that would still show color on stage at night. Among them, the lady who addressed you, Sashem, a half-elven woman, but of a ruddier skin, a reddish brown, stands elegantly in a beautiful, flowing yellow and red dress. A hat with a large feathered quill coming from it, and a multitude of golden earrings on each ear, which Basil, Arni, and Syranos would know that elves piercing their ears is kind of, it's kind of a thing that's a little bit frowned upon in their cultures. Beth, you have all proven to be interesting. I apologize for saying that you bore me, young man.
Yeah, I thought you might be some rich person that could order my death, and so that's why I tended to be boring in the beginning. But
Well,
if you
I
want it
wouldn't say that's
interesting,
not true. She winks at you.
Anyway, what do you think of the dagger?
She pulls it out and kind of spins it between her fingers. It still has your blood on it, but maybe that makes it better. It's quite beautiful,
Thanks,
truly.
I think.
She hands it to one of the others on the ship, who actually wipes it and then hands it back to her, and she slides it back into a scabbard on her hip.
I hope that makes up for the ship.
It looks like it should. Don't worry.
Awesome. Okay, where are you guys going?
Well, before that, care to introduce yourselves? Especially those that snuck onto the ship? Turning to
Sorry about that. They're
the
with
two
us.
of you. And Arni, at this point, this would be the time that you're coming up over the ladder.
Yeah.
And my
Don't worry.
face is just like paper white.
Unless you'd like to stay on the ground.
No, I'm doing it as I've got to stick with these guys in case they fly off and leave me behind.
Fair enough. Just go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw for your fear of heights. A 24. You know, you have a persistent fear of heights. It's been something you've struggled with. But for some reason, there's a little bit of focus right now. That, hey, this has got to get done. And it steals you a little bit. Well, I'm still waiting for introductions. Please.
Well, I am going to step forward and try to do a fancy bow.
Okay, make a performance check.
Why? I don't know why I roll anymore. An 11.
I mean, it's average. You know you haven't done like this beautiful flourish that gets everyone's attention, but you bow. Go
I'm
ahead.
a punker. My name is Sashem Shessu, Forge Force.
Oh. The Forge Force.
Yes.
Is that the group as a whole?
Some of us. And I'm going to lean over and look at Drax. Yeah, I don't know about that one. But we were just trying to help him get to Nicodranus safely.
Yeah. That may become a touch easier because we have been quite bored. We have been traveling all the way from doing a vigil for Icehaven. And it has been so cold. Now that the heat has finally hit, we were looking to have some fun.
Well, I'm game. So
But please.
that's Zenesha there, and then that's Syranos, and that's Basil, and then that's Arni, and then that little guy over there is Drak. He's the one that we're trying to, get somewhere.
I am Lady Maria. She bows, which is an elegant and beautiful bow, with excessive flourish of flipping up the tail of her coat. And, as she bows, the tail of the coat actually kind of kicks up, and she's almost like this crescent moon shape. It's way over the top, but it is quite beautiful. I am a... Please, go ahead.
I was just going to ask where the fancy outfits came from.
I am a performer.
Ooh. Why were you at a
I see.
vigil then?
For those that were lost in Icehaven.
To make other people happy?
To our best effort, of course.
Okay. I didn't know that was a thing.
All right. Well, this one has done a great deal of talking. I would love to hear the perspective of others. You who look like you're about to die. Pointing at you, Arni.
And I'm probably at one of the masts of the airship, like any kind of rope or anything, just like kind of like wrapping it around my arm.
And it's as you go even to speak that there's a and the airship begins to move. I take it you are not quite ready to speak. What about you, Green One?
Yes. He's gonna bow and say, "Be pleased." And
Marquisian. Of course.
you know,
What is a Marquisian? Man of the scale doing all the way out here.
I'm exploring the world, seeing all what it has, and I'm helping out what I can.
I should like to speak with you later, in more private a setting, if that's agreeable.
He's just gonna nod.
And you,
Is she-
fair lady. Oh, go ahead.
Is she facing him at this point? Because he's on the other side of the ship, right?
Yeah, so right now she'd be facing away from you.
Yeah, okay. So Sashem is gonna like lean over so Basil can see him and be like,
Oh, man. But she turns back around, this time to you, Zenesha. And what is your story, mighty warrior?
I'm Zenesha. You said you were in Icehaven?
There was a vigil conducted there at the behest of the Temple of the Raven Queen that was done in honor of those that were lost. But yes.
You probably met Drak then. How is he doing?
He is the High Priest of the Raven Queen. You know of him.
Yeah, I was there as the city dissolved.
And for the first time, the performance of her presence kind of slips. I am sorry. I hope that you have found some peace.
And hunting down the person that's responsible. Doing pretty good so far.
Oh, the lot of you are embroiled in this, yes?
Yes.
Well, then it is fortuitous that our airship could be targeted by such frivolous acts. And you could have some expedience in your journey. She turns to you, Drax, and kind of just looks you over. Leans into you a little bit. You? Are you what you say you are?
I'm just a monk traveling cabbage merchant from the temple of the god of nature and drunkenness.
Oh, quite a character then. You might fit in here just right.
Oh, it sounds like fun. I'll turn to Arni. Like, I'll hold the cabbage to him. It will help. Just give it to him.
Ever since she asked Drak if he was what he said he was. Arni is like eyes squinting, especially this fresh after Buddy's betrayal.
Fair enough.
And Arni is going to cast Dispel Magic on Drak.
Roll a d20 and add your wisdom modifier and spellcasting modifier. Or sorry, wisdom modifier and proficiency bonus.
Okay. So proficiency bonus plus 3 is 20, and then the spellcasting is another plus 3, so 23.
Okay. Yeah, the dispel magic ejects from your hand this ball of static electricity, right, that goes out and disperses over Drak's form. Nothing happens aside from his shudder.
Sorry about that. We've been deceived once before. All right.
I very much like cabbage.
Yes. Gracious lady. And I'll grab one and give one to her.
Okay. As she reaches her hand out, she scratches you on the hand. Oh, my apologies. These nails are so flamboyant and difficult to control at times.
My skin is soft sometimes.
Second, Drax, you're just giving out cabbages right now? I thought it was 150 when we got on the ship.
They're giving us a ride.
I hope his $150 cabbages will help.
She does take the cabbage, goes and hands it off to another individual who looks to rush it into the galley. Well, who wants to drink?
Arni does.
Oh, I would love a drink.
A little bit of color returns to
I'll start drinking out of my
Arnie's
gourd
face.
then.
A table is actually dragged out. And at this point, not with a lurch, but a gentle glide, the momentum of the airship begins to move southward towards Nicodranus, still following the road. The table is brought out, a number of tankards, and Zenesha, just go ahead and roll a perception check for that, or investigation if you're going to take the time. And a good number of people are also seated. There's a number of benches, a couple of people just sitting on barrels. Let me... grab... Wait, where is it? Oh man, thought I prepared this. A little bit of a feast is actually brought out. Kind of lunchish time. And she sets a cup down on the table. Well, how are you all doing today?
Great. Minus the world is ending. How are you doing?
Well, that's a dire thing to say. Could you elaborate?
I mean, yeah, ley lines, crazy cultists, gods that should be dead or not around anymore, coming back.
Yes, you speak of things that go far above my head. But it's your job to do something about this, yes?
Now it is.
And this one speaks for all of you?
Goes off
He's
to
just
the
the
lobby.
loudest.
So
All three of you at the exact same time. Oh, that was a cacophony. Let's try that again.
go ahead, Zenesha.
Sashem is just the loudest. We just kind of let him do what he wants most of the time.
Ah, yes,
I'm just going to sell my cabbages.
of course. And you, Master Dwarf?
I here to protect my town and find a good drink.
Ah, well, that should be showing up very shortly. I like to play a game with new people. And a number of tankards, casks of, you're not sure what type of ale, but ale nonetheless, not wine, are set on the table. And a number of, what look to be attendants are rushing about. A meager, not meager, but a simple and small portioned meal is served. It's a freshly cooked meat, but not some fancily garnished dish. And the tankards and casks are tapped, and ale begins to flow. I like to play this game. It is quite old, and actually comes, looking to you, Basil, from Marquette.
Ooh.
It is called What the Fuck Is Up With That? So it is a game we play. You can ask a question of someone else in the group, and you can either tell the truth or drink. We'd like to go first. So between the two of any people, and you can challenge anyone, you'll both roll a d20, and the one that loses must accept a question from the one that wins. So, who's doing what? If no one volunteers, I will challenge.
You
You
Sashem.
challenge me. Oh,
No. I challenge you.
All right, both of you roll a d20.
You sure you're not already drunk, Arni?
Just in the presence of alcohol, just via osmosis. Sashem with an 8 and Arni with a 3. Sashem, you could ask Arni a question.
What is the darkest thing that you have ever seen, Arni?
Oh, we are really getting into it right away. I like this.
Well, are you asking that I've seen myself?
Definitely.
You can, of course, just drink and avoid the question, if you wish. We do not wish to turn the
Arnie's just going to
mood
throw
so
back a
sour.
mug.
Very well. A first drink will not cause a Constitution saving throw, but future ones might. Ah, well. Mr. Sashem Shessu, I challenge you. Let's go ahead and roll d20.
Okay.
Hers is a 6.
7.
You beat it by 1. Go ahead and ask your question.
What's the most interesting person you have ever come across?
The most interesting person. That would have to be the Emperor of the New Empire.
Oh. Wow.
He is not a mortal man. And that leads to a great deal of intrigue.
I'm sure.
He was, in fact, though not the first time I've met him, there at the Vigil of Icehaven.
Oh, interesting. Who would have thought he would have gone?
I would hope.
And, well, not like he came to Comorta.
Comorta did not fall, and Icehaven fell before Comorta was attacked, no?
True, but it had
So all things in order, yes?
If you look at it that way, sure. I don't know the guy. And I didn't know you were so well connected.
It seems there's many things you don't know. Who's next?
Obviously.
Drak is just sipping away.
Just sipping away. Anybody else going to challenge someone else?
Arni, I challenge you.
All right. Have the two of you roll d20s. Ooh. Arni with a 20. Arni's confidence steeled with the drink now aboard the airship. What do you ask?
And the cabbage.
And the cabbage.
And the cabbage. Why are you so afraid to show who you are?
And she leans in. Ooh. Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm probably more afraid of what they will react like. And he's also going to take a drink.
So a little bit of an answer, a little bit of a drink. Lady Maria does speak up, and she says, those of certain lineage are often not received the same in different places of the world. If you all just came from the new empire, he may have been able to freely display himself with no prejudice. But here into the Menagerie Coast, as well as Marquette, he would likely be imprisoned.
Arnie's just going to willingly take another drink and be like, shouldn't make one god's damned difference who somebody is or where they're from.
I absolutely agree. I would rather see all of the races of the world minding their own damned business. Yes?
Drak kind of mutters, if only that was true.
It's Drak.
All right, Drak and Sashem, go ahead and roll d20s. Which, Arni, with you having drink another, make your Constitution saving throw. I would say with advantage because you are a dwarf after all. Oh, but you're good.
Drak got it.
Sashem and Drak. So, Sashem, go ahead.
Where do you come from? Like, who are your parents? I don't want to know about your monkishness.
Parents! I haven't thought about that in... How old am I? I don't know. I think about cabbages in the monastery now. And I'll drink.
Avoided the question. Well, I have a question to you, Lady Warrior. And go ahead and roll a d20. A 3. Oh, rip. Looks like you're going to be the one that gets
4.
4. You barely win. You go, very well. Ask away.
You said earlier that you wish every race would just mind their own business.
Yes.
What if one was evil? Wouldn't you want to get rid of them?
A race, in and of themselves, cannot be evil. An individual is evil. The person, the soul, makes them that way. I have met even noble goblins, minotaur that are honorable, full-blooded orcs, in fact, as well. Hobgoblins, drow, deep gnomes. I have been all over the world. And I've seen more evil among humans and elves than any other race.
Fair. I mean, if they're working together, though, wouldn't it be more of a racial trait?
I do understand. Say you are a child. You are a goblin child. You are being raised by goblin parents in a goblin community. Every year or so, the local village you raid. How are you to know better? How are you to know anything else than what you've spent the first year of your life preparing for? Being told it is this great and important thing to do, something that helps the group to survive. Does that make you evil? You've done a wrong thing, yes, but evil?
I guess there's a difference between survival and murder.
Yes, there is. And I would hope that we could create a world but that none of that is necessary for anyone. But such a thing is not possible. At least not yet. There are too many in power that are themselves evil. Truly, truly evil. That would need to be displaced. But I have answered a number of questions. Now I'll ask of you. No drink. No dice. Who do you hunt?
You want the
You want tea? She glances
Basil.
over at Basil. The brown scale you want tea of Isilra?
Thansia.
Oh, Thansia. Very well. Does anyone else have any other challenges they'd like to make?
I'm gonna challenge Basil.
Okay,
Basil.
go ahead.
Ooh,
Oh,
we're
it's a
doing
tie. So you can both
Ooh.
ask a question.
Great.
So as the challenger, your question would be first.
So my question to you is, how many girls have you slept with?
There's chuckles all around you. You know, some of the attendants are also sitting down on some barrels and stuff and not necessarily participating, but drinking and eating along. Yeah, you caught a little bit of attention with that one.
It's not something I try and go for, but if I had to put a number to it, I'd say 4.
Oh. Were these, recent?
No, not recent.
That would be interesting.
I
But
guess I
Basil,
get
you
to-
can go ahead with a question to Sashem.
It's a shame. What is something that you want to see in the world?
I don't know. I've never. This is all like.
If you had to think of anything.
That's the thing is I don't even know what to think of. Everything that I've already seen in the last 2 months is more than I could ever even imagine. So I thought I was the messed up kid growing up, but apparently I'm just a regular person.
Oh, why is that, if I may?
Why is what?
Why is the world new to you at the age that you are?
Oh, Bromkin Hills has no magic. Didn't really ever leave the village. 3 generations. They said they closed it off because of all the evil in the world or something or other. So nobody left the village until I was kicked out. First one in 3 generations kicked out.
As you tell this, just go ahead and make an insight check.
10.
10. Okay. There's a little bit of a response to your story, but overall, she seems composed. Yeah. What would you, as the question was asked, what would you like to see? I have the ability to generate illusions.
So actually, this might help me out a lot because I don't know a lot of races, and since you were talking with Zenesha and this deep philosophical, I've seen a lot, but my village was all human. We didn't know of gods or magic or
She waves
anything,
her
so-
hand, and a nude image of a pair of humans, one of each gender, appears in the middle of the table.
Yeah.
Yes, humans.
Yes, humans.
Often seen as the default of civilization, yes?
I wouldn't know that anymore. I don't even know where civilization began because I thought humans were the only race. So everything's new to me. But if you could clothe all the other
Are
things
you
from now
ashamed
on, that would be
Are you ashamed of the body?
ashamed? No.
This show it down
I'm
makes it more fun. As he's drinking.
just glad you don't have any images of me rolling around in your head. That's all I gotta say. So
And she starts to transition the shape of the male figure to look a lot like Sashem. Are you sure that I don't?
Yeah.
You're staring
gonna-
quite intently. Have I
gonna-
gotten any of the proportions wrong?
yes, very wrong. Still too small.
Well, waves it to the side. And of course, elves. Still the same. Not clothed. Elves. You've seen them.
Yes.
One's like myself, a hybrid between elves and humans. Dragonborn.
Yes, actually, we were betrayed by one.
Oh,
But
that
those
is-
are always. Sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
know you were going to try and show some empathy and stuff, but it's just still annoying,
Orc. And what you see for the first time yourself, it's actually something that was like alluded to in some storybooks as a child. Looks a lot like Zenesha, but substantially more animalistic in nature. Much, much wider jaws, deeper tusks, larger in frame.
Arnie's getting
Zenesh-
like fond flashbacks as like he's kind of thumbing a knife and just like.
I thought you were
guys.
saying fond flashbacks at looking at 2 nude models of orcs.
Oh. No.
Back in my years in the art courses of Basilheim.
We did the model
Zenesha.
piece.
You kind of look. Are you orc or half orc? Because you don't look like that all the way.
I'm half-orc.
What's the other half?
My dad was full orc, my mom was half orc, so I guess technically I'm 3/4 orc, but
No, that explains your stature. You are quite large, even for a half-orc. And for a woman. And she transitions it to more of a half-orc. Significantly more slender. Significantly more slender. Still robust in comparison to the average human, but nonetheless. Oh, let's see. Let's go a different direction. Let us do Arakokra. She shows Arakokra, which are bird people. Sashem, you're immediately reminded of Saradin, but these are large, nearly human-sized individuals.
They're big comparison to what I'm used to. The other one's like 2 feet, 3 feet, something like that. He's pretty short.
Oh, Owlin. And she waves her hand again, and Owlins appear.
Yeah.
Yes, descended of the same race, Icefura, but different nonetheless. Oh, let's see, what else? Looking to you, Zenesha, she spins her fingers, and a full-blooded Wanti, coiled tail, lifted humanoid body, and snaked head appears. The Yuan
What is
Ti.
that?
Yes, Yuan Ti. Those of the scale.
But they have a tail.
They do.
Basil, you don't have a tail.
He's gonna look away.
Do you know for
just
sure?
Keep drinking.
I mean, we shared a room. Of course, it's not like we shared a bathtub.
I was about to ask.
I don't swing that way. Toots.
But let's see, something more fantastic. What about... Oh, something of the hells. And she waves her hand, and a red-skinned, large devil with horns that sweep back and large red wings. A pit fiend.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Oh, I would hope that you never do. See, this is not actually necessarily a race. This would be a servant of Asmodeus within the Burning Hells. These are pit fiend. I do not do its scale justice. They stand upwards of 15 feet tall.
Wow.
What else? I'll do one more. Throw something out there. What would you like to see?
I can tell you what I have seen. I have seen Warforge and that one I can't tell you what that one was. And then I've seen that monkey man. What was his name? And then the professor.
Adosi.
Yeah. And
So you
then
already
there was a
seen that.
professor, but the professor kind of made his own body, so that he was something totally different too. So
I cannot make something I have not seen myself.
yeah. What is something that is... Give me something that is not a normal thing to see, but they might be discriminated against. We were talking about races, so it's just something that I should, if I come across, be a little weary, because not weary in the sense that I would have to worry about them, but weary in the sense of how they might react if I know who they are. Kind of like how Basil has to be a little hidden, and so he's not so forthcoming. So, somebody I just need to know that they're not trying to hide something from me. It's just kind of what's going on. You know what I mean? Like,
Drak will
Yes,
pipe up.
yes.
Show her a plasmoid.
Well, that's not much. And she waves her hand, and there's kind of just this gelatinous person, vaguely in the shape of a person. These are generally not discriminated against, though. They are generally very docile. But to your point, Mr. Shessu, she waves her hand, and a blue-skinned, very humanoid-looking individual or pair of individuals appear. I could see this group protecting their identity, which you saw in Allfield, I believe. It might have been Zadash. David, the Celestial Magic Shop.
Oh yeah, really?
The SMR. Angel Bloods.
Yeah. Why would they be discriminated against?
No, not so much discriminated. I've kind of twisted your request a bit. As targeted. Angel blood has power, you see. It can be used.
Whoa. I mean, in all technicality, so can Cyrodiil spit, so...
I mean, Syranos.
Syranos, I'm sorry. Sorry. Cyrodiil came up earlier,
Wow.
so... Yeah.
Well, so, that does beg the question, Mr. Syranos. Looking at you. What the fuck is up with that? And she takes another drink.
Understandable, of course. I am not sure. And, I would like to find out.
You are at least part elf, no?
Of that much, I'm pretty sure of, yes. I thought I was part Dragonborn, but that turned out to be incorrect as well.
Oh, that is what I would have guessed. A mix that I admit I never would have seen before and never would have seen happening, but...
Well, you haven't.
What I expected. Yes, I guess I haven't. And at this point, a decent amount of time has actually passed, and the sun isn't necessarily setting, but she does stand at the table and says, I would retire for the night, though yourself, Syranos, and Basil, I would send for you to visit me tonight, if you would.
I'd be happy to.
Tetteh!
No, that is not what this is. I have something to offer. That is all.
Okay.
Very
Thank
well.
you.
And as she steps away from the table, you are all left there around the table. There's still other people, but
Drak has left his drinking cup to go to his board.
I'd say Arnie's probably on his third or fourth mug by now.
fair enough. Looking to be able to sleep through the night. And you are making good time in the times that you've, either gotten up to walk around or stepped away to, find the chamber pot. You've easily saved a day already in what was probably a week and a half of travel. If this continues, you'll arrive post haste. With that, let's take a break. You are all shown to a pair of group quarters. A number of crewmates already inhabit a couple of beds in a number of them. But there is enough room for each of you to have your own. Bed is a bit of an overstatement. It's kind of a glorified hammock. to be fair, but it is somewhere warm and sheltered to sleep for the night. Syranos and Basil, you are summoned to the ladies' meeting chamber as the sun sets. And I will pull you two out to the other channel. As the two of you are led through a short hallway, this is not a large ship, but you do go down a level from those group quarters. The door to her meeting chamber is open, and there seems to be a pretty good amount of candlelight showing through. The attendant kind of just gestures forward to the two of you and then steps away.
Do you think we should enter one at a time or together?
I'm fine going in together if you are.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Open the door.
Both stepping in to get together, she goes, and you see on the table is a crystal ball on a small golden pedestal. She says, please, if the two of you would, gesturing to two seats that have been prepared.
Okay. I'll take the left seat. As I do.
Always left.
Yep.
Now, to not leave you in suspense for too long, I possess an ability. Now, the future cannot be known outright. That is not possible. But the threads of fate bind us all. And often, the direction they lead can be discerned. As can their end. As her tone darkens a little bit. Would you like to find out? And for both of you, you generally be aware of soothsaying and fortune telling and things like that. You know that divination magic is real. It's real. It's also exceptionally subjective and difficult to do in a way that actually gives, like, useful information.
Yeah. Well, I am always happy to have more information, so I welcome it, personally.
Very well. And you, Basil?
I like things to be kind of a surprise, but I like new experiences at the same time. I'd probably give this a go.
All right. We'll start with you, the one that is so eager for information. Now, she leans forward and actually sets her hands on one of yours. I also, through this same magic, can see the past. The past has already been written. It is known in the halls of Ioun. To traverse the books and know someone's past is trivial to some. Is there anything you wish to keep secret?
I take it Syranos would also know this about divination, being able to look and see the past, or is that new information for him?
Make an Arcana check or religion.
Okay. Arcana or religion. Same modifier. Okay.
Just let me know which one.
It wouldn't be like history?
No, this is machinations of
Okay.
magic.
Okay, I didn't know if it would like pertain to like his learnings and stuff, so
No.
Arcana, let's do it.
Okay.
15.
There's all manners of looking into the past. There's obviously just infiltrating somebody's mind and pulling their memories. That's something that's possible. Divination magic specifically has almost always looked forward, but you actually personally have a little bit of experience with possibility, with dunamancy, a school of magic that does not fall under divination, but stands a little bit different. And while it has the tangential effect on gravity, it also affects time. Do you know of some ways that something like this could be done?
Okay.
You're not sure what specifically she's alluding to.
Yeah.
But her question stands. Is there anything you'd like to keep secret?
I don't think I have anything to hide.
Very well. Then we'll start there. Because in order to look forward, you go all the way to the beginning. And she takes your hand gently and places it on top of the crystal orb. And then she kind of cups the underside of it. Now just think back to your earliest memory. And for Syranos, what would that be?
Oh, jeez. I imagine it being very small in Vices Teal. With
And as you recall this memory, Basil, you see the image of an elven city forming. And it's very, very ephemeral, very faint, very light. But it is forming in the sphere.
imagine my earliest memory would be childhood. Like, I'm imagining 7, 8. Possibly trying to play with others or just exploring.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, such a tragic childhood. Shunned so frequently by your peers. It must have been hard for you.
I knew I was different. Still don't understand why.
Ah. Oh, but we go forward now.
Yeah.
And the sphere goes white. And a thread forms in it that casts forward. Both of you see it from your perspective. And then it comes to an end. And the distance from here to there is not long. And she says, oh my goodness, this, where does your journey take you? The next few places you wish to go?
Let me clarify. So is she talking about from the childhood to now?
From now into the future.
Oh, like where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Moving forward, I hope. Moving forward, I hope to find my origin. And see if there is family that I don't know. And maybe try to find some answers from the past. I do want to go to Singorn.
Oh, that. And her eyes are closed at this point, but as they kind of flicker open, they're white across their surface. Look. And she moves your hand to the side of the orb a little bit. And inside, you just see you, kind of just in like this null space. It's just you. And this cord, what looks like just a golden energy, is just wrapped around you over and over again, tied in knots and twisted around you. This is the thread of fate, and I have seldom seen one so deeply entwined. And this place you wish to go, Singorn, the city of elves that travels to the Feywild on a whim, is where you will die.
I think before she even finishes saying that, Syranos, I don't know what this does or anything, but Syranos, because he sees the gold wrapped around him in knots, he remembers reverie and being gold in that moment.
Okay, roll a d20.
Okay. I'm just gonna send this to you.
Yeah. Okay. Basil, you see this as well, but there's a flash of brassy gold in this sphere, and then a flash that extends out from the sphere, and their hands are forced off of it. She goes, "Oh, well,
I'm
was unexpected. I believe no harm has been done, but the spell has ended."
Do you know what that was or means?
You are tied up in the threads of fate to a degree that I have never seen before.
Okay.
The threads of fate are not a guarantee of your future, but when there are so many, I don't know how to deny it. If you go to Singorn, it will be very dangerous for you.
Thank you. That's a lot
I
to
wish I could give
process.
more detail, but the nature of this magic is subjective at best.
I know. And I appreciate you for it. Very much.
Kind of pulling her petticoat straight again, and now. Oh, give me a moment to center myself. Basil. His experience was quite abnormal and extreme. I hope that I can promise that yours will not be the same.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if it was going to explode if I touched it too.
Let us hope not. It did not explode, though. The crystal is in good form.
That's good to hear.
And I was not harmed. Were you harmed, Syranos?
No.
If not, just a bit perturbed.
Just surprised, as you were, I'm sure.
She wipes a little bit of sweat from her brow. Please, your hand. She takes your hand and places it on the orb. Is there anything of your past you wish to keep secret?
I think I trust you. You seem to have some very good views on the world. I do not wish to keep it secret.
I appreciate you recognizing that. Very well. And think back to as early a memory as you would like.
He's gonna first to think to a moment when, after he was transformed, of something that he was called as a sand sifter. He would go out and just pick up like rubbish and metals and try and sell them in town. And then he would think back farther to when he was just before being transformed with his family. He was out gathering clay to make pottery.
Syranos, you see these images rather clearly. In fact, more clearly than your memories were. It's interesting, though, as you say yourself, Basil, everything is framed as before or after the transformation. There's almost a dual image present in the sphere. And you can't help but frame your life around this transformation because it was so central to everything you've experienced. The memory you're focusing on appears, but beside it, also the transformation itself. Could you describe what that event was like, as Syranos can freely see it right now?
So it starts off at night. A group of kids, including him, were out in the desert doing a bonfire, and one of them had a great idea to go to an abandoned church. And all of them kind of were outside the doors, just making fun and teasing each other, trying to like see who would go in and spend the night. And one of Basil's crushes was there, and he's like, I'll do it. He stood up and wanted to impress her. And the moment he went in, there was a loud bang and some noises. The rest of the kids scattered, and he was left inside the church, unconscious, where he was then taken by Yuan-Ti and transformed.
And Basil's memory of that has a bit of a gap there, because he was unconscious. But he does wake. His vision changed. The perspective just a little bit different. Oh, tragic as well. And she kind of rests her hand on top of yours a little bit. I promise that you are safe here. At least with me.
I very much appreciate that.
Now, let us follow your thread of fate. And as she then releases your hand to stay on top of the orb and puts her hands to the side, you see her twisting and cocking her head, and the orb seems to be like rushing through some kind of space, some kind of material. It's almost like swimming through water in different directions and stuff like that, but like the colors are shifting and turning. And she goes, I don't understand this. Where is it? And her eyes shoot open and she's looking at you, but they're still white. You are fate touched. And she separates her hands from the orb and the spell ends.
I'm what?
You are fate touched. You are of those that are not bound by destiny. This is such stark contrast between the two of you. This one is bound so tightly that your destiny may be unavoidable, and you are totally free.
You want some of mine? I know.
She kind of not quite lunges forward, but really quickly gets up over the table, almost knocking the sphere off its stand, ignoring it. Puts her hands on top of yours that have now kind of rested back down in front of you. You must take care. There are beings that will look to control you, look to have you pact with them. There is no need. Do you already have power of your own?
I don't understand.
Do you? She leans back in her chair and she's actually like biting her finger a little bit. Do you already have a magical ability of your own, ability to do things that others necessarily can't?
Yes, I can. I assume use the arcane.
Yes, but it's different than some others, yes?
I'm not certain, but it could be. I feel like it could be.
I know only a limited amount of all of this through what I've experienced in allowing strangers onto my boats and reading their fortunes, but you would likely be targeted by many beings, many deities even, to be brought into their service because you are free of fate. You do not need them.
What does it mean, though? Like, are you saying that I could do something they can't, or?
There are stories deep in the past of those that could exhibit divine powers with no gods. You may be one of those.
This is a lot to think about.
Oh, this has tired me so. This was much more than I was expecting, but I should have been more prepared when you all said you were hunting the evils of the world. If you would please excuse me, I would retire for the night.
Of course.
Yes, thank you.
And as the two of you first take a moment to collect yourselves and ponder, then step out into the hallway to rejoin the group. I will drag everybody up here so everybody's not in mod chat. Basil and Syranos do rejoin the group. These two chambers that are your guys' bed chambers for the night, they're not necessarily separated. There's kind of just a thick canvas wall between the two of them. So if at any point you guys were looking to converse or anything like that, there's no separation between these two groups necessarily. But everyone that was left behind, if you could just make an insight check as Basil and Syranos rejoin.
9.
22.
Sashem and Arni, yeah. Sashem and Arni, it is not hard for you to recognize that they are both a little wide-eyed and contemplative at the moment as they walk in.
Guys, I'm gonna have to get out and then get back in because my camera's not
Yeah, you're
turning
good.
on. Turn it on.
Go ahead. There we go. There we go.
Make it feel a lot better. Okay. Quick question, just because I really
Go ahead.
enjoy the visual, is how are these hammocks set up? Is it like a regular
Yeah.
ship where they're like bunk bed hammocks, or
It is kind of like that. It's not 3 deep. It's only 2 deep. And the lower one is effectively on the ground when somebody's in it, though they're lightly cushioned. It's not like just a canvas hammock. They're pretty nice for a hammock. And then the upper one is probably at about the 5-foot level. There's just a slight rope ladder heading in between each of them. And there's about 4 rows of 4 in each of these sections. So 16, 32 bunks total. The side-to-side space to be able to walk between them is a bit limited. You're almost turning to the side, kind of shimmy between the rows. Relatively dense in here. Though, even with all of you here, only about half of the bunks are occupied.
So I have taken a top bunk, and when they come in, it's like, hey, that was a little bit quicker than I thought. How was your threesome?
Oh, wow. You hear all around the room just like, oh my god. Oh. Morden be praised. Let us be rid of these fools.
I look at Arni, and I look at Basil, and Zenesha, and I go, kids.
Never a dull moment.
All
All
I can
right,
say.
we get that it.
Go ahead.
We get that it wasn't really a threesome, but come on, something happened. Give us some juice.
Well, I don't know about you, Basil, but I am getting ever more excited to get to Nicodranas and hopefully gain some more information on things.
I need answers in time.
That
It's
would be
nothing,
nice.
guys. I just need you to know that's nothing. That means nothing.
Yes,
That is
yes.
nothing. Remember, we want some interesting juice. Like, you're sending me to bed
Okay.
without a good
All right,
story.
It's okay. Basil, I'll share mine. You don't have to share yours if you don't want to.
Okay.
So, oh man. I wonder. Do you know about the threads of fate?
Fate? Fate doesn't exist.
I didn't think so. Arni, I'm sure you're familiar. Correct.
Is that something that Arni would...
I mean, the threads of fate would be kind of one of the long-standing, understood, pseudo-religious things of the world.
So as a
religion
cleric, I
check.
probably would have at least heard of them.
That's why I assume.
So roll a religion check with advantage.
Okay.
Or history, but I think
Oh,
your
that's
religion's
it.
higher
That
anyway.
first
So.
one was... That's not doing me any favors today.
Wait, what'd you get
What's
with an
the total?
advantage?
With advantage, it was 7.
Oh,
The second was in that one.
You're...
So,
okay.
I've heard of...
Yeah.
I've had 4 mugs tonight, so...
Yeah, there's why.
I'm...
Okay. Well, you know what? If you don't mind holding off on... Because that's a conversation that I don't feel like I can adequately touch on just yet. Because the right words for that is interesting. But we are going to Nicodranas, and I can definitely show you some stuff there, I'm sure, that will break it down in a way that is more understandable than I think I could personally give to you. But...
Pat him on the shoulder with a little bit of a swagger. Just, that sounds great, friend.
I was talking to Sashem. Okay, fine. Maybe we should just go to sleep for the night.
Sure. Does Basil pass by me in order to get to his little bunk resting place?
I mean, that'd be kind of up to Basil. There's plenty of room to go elsewhere. But
which way are you going? Oh, yeah? Great. I'm going to grab his hood as he tries to go by me and be like, dude, what's up? Like, what'd she do to you guys in there?
She read our future, kind of.
Oh, but she didn't invite me? That would have been so fun!
Yeah.
Apparently not.
I mean, you'd think it'd be fun, but these things are not 100%.
Okay, question then. In your future, do I die?
We got ours, not the people around us.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
I'm not
only-
around you in
and
your
it's-
future. I probably die. Okay.
No, it's just not a guarantee. Like, all we saw was our particular selves and got an inkling of, oh, hey, this will be dangerous if you do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, we.
The future is always changing.
There's no way to know
Thanks
for
for
certain.
the input, Drak. Okay. Well then, I guess good night.
Night.
As the conversations die down, and also grumbling from some of the crew, who's you can hear them say, "Oh, I have to be awake in an hour. What is wrong with these people?" Having to get themselves back to sleep. The night does fall. Now, here's a question: is anybody keeping watch?
Basil's gonna have a hard time going to sleep, so he's gonna be up.
Okay, at least for a first watch, just go ahead and roll a perception check.
8.
An 8. Your mind caught on everything you've just been exposed to. You don't catch a lot, but there is a little bit of shuffling on the deck. That's all you really hear. But the ship's still moving, so it doesn't seem odd at all. You do finally fall asleep later into the night. About midnight, by the time you finally drift. And the morning does come to you all relatively early. So, Basil, it doesn't feel great, kind of groggy, but you all do wake. Which bunks were occupied by which crew members has transitioned to an entirely different set at this point, as now the night crew is sleeping. But the day is yours.
I'm going to whisper, get down from my bunk and go over to Syranos and whisper, "Do you want to spar?"
How early does Drak wake up? Does he sleep in or does he?
He'd probably be up
Draken's-
about 5 in the morning.
Yeah. Drak didn't seem like he needed a lot of sleep. But Syranos and Sashem going to be going up on deck and
Why,
sparring.
yes, sure. Let's see if we can find some space. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of space, but let's go check. Get up.
Yeah. Making your way up to the upper deck. Is everyone else following? Anybody hanging out just to continue resting or what?
Drak will go up and watch.
Okay.
Arni
you
will
all
go
make
up
your
with
way-
Drak.
Okay. As you all make your way up above deck, and Sashem and Syranos, you position yourselves and draw your blades on each other. Murmurs begin to form among the crew, and a circle starts to form around you.
I think that Syranos would make sure to spot out the captain beforehand and try to call them to get permission for this, as he is proper in a lot
looking-
of things.
Go ahead and make a perception check to look out for the captain.
Okay. Or someone that looks in charge.
Uh-huh. You do not see Lady Maria.
Okay. It's a 19.
A 19. Okay. Looking up to the wheel of the ship, which actually has not a wheel. Instead, it is a pair of levers that are multi-directional. You see a very, very short but gaudily dressed, long blue and gold cloak that's dragging 3 feet onto the ground, and a tricorn hat with about 6 feathers sticking out the side. a kobold driving the ship, slowly maneuvering through the wind. Furl the aft sail!
And Shashem's just gonna look at Syranos and go,
Yeah, and I'm gonna like turn around one of the crew members and be like, "Is that the captain?"
You said it was a kobold?
It is a kobold, yes.
I'm legit
Drak-
like stopping
Drak is
someone
glaring
at work.
kobold.
I'm legit stopping someone at work to find out.
And you do turn him, and at first he's like, "What the fuck? Oh, yes, that's Captain Scorch."
Thank you so much. Sorry to bug you. I was just really thrown off guard. You can go back to work.
All right. But there, Captain Scorch is steering the ship.
All right.
Address them.
I guess that's it. Come on, Sashem. Head up the stairs, up to...
"Oh no, Shashem's staying on deck. You can." I was
Oh,
just gonna
okay.
spar. I'm not going to talk to the
While
kobold.
he's going up to the captain, I'm going to lean over to Arni. Keep an eye on that kobold.
I
Going after your cabbages.
say,
Oh.
Drak, I've got a nasty headache from last night. You mind handing me a drink there to wash something away?
You don't want what's in here.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I have some
Just a
wine.
All
swig.
right. I'll reach in, grab a little wood cup from my bag, and pour a little
Okay.
bit, little bit, and hand it to him.
Arni, you take that swig.
Yep.
Okay. Immediately it burns like a fiery inferno. Make a Constitution saving throw. It is the deepest, richest fire water you have ever had hit your tongue. And,
Also the smallest shot ever, probably.
it is small. It is an alcohol beyond the strength of just alcohol. If you took pure like ethyl alcohol, this is stronger than that somehow.
Oh!
And your body outright rejects it. And you, the moment it starts to move down your throat, and blast all over the deck.
Drak just go, I told ya. And I'll reach in
And
crack
half
open another
of the
cabbage.
crew is like, "Oh, come on! I'll get a mop."
I'll pull out another
What
cabbage.
in the hell was that?
Trust me, this'll help. And I'll hand him that cabbage. Half of a cabbage.
A cabbage.
Drak has grown to like Arni.
Start nibbling on a cabbage leaf. Anything to get that bile taste out of my mouth.
This is
It's,
the good stuff
you
from
know.
my monastery. Mm.
It is, and for cabbage, it's nice cabbage. It's subtly sweet, and not just sour. It's kind of nice.
The drink is something special.
But
Not
Syranos,
allowed.
after having turned to see that display, you do make your way the rest of the way up the stairs to the helm, where this kobold is steering the ship. As you approach,
Captain-
you know what the fuck do you want?
I take it you're Captain Scorch?
Yeah, that's what they call me.
I was just come to request if it would be all right for me to spar with who I'm training to use the sword.
Yeah, just don't fucking stab anybody. Has anybody spotted my brother down below yet? As he calls that out, a number of crew members. We haven't seen him yet, sir.
Oh, well, thank you, Captain. Sashem, we're good.
Okay. And you do make your way to the center of the ship, where again a circle is formed around you. As you spar, it becomes quickly apparent that this isn't necessarily a battle between the two of you, and the group does disperse.
They get disappointed, I'm sure.
Yeah, they were expecting that there was some kind of drama between the two of you, and you hear the grumbles. I was hoping I get to watch somebody die today, and walking away.
What the hell's up with all of the cranky kobolds around here?
Oh, God.
What did you say?
I'm gonna point my sword
What's
at
wrong
Arni.
with you? I've got a headache.
Screw it. I'm gonna try and knock Arni out
Okay.
with the hilt of my sword.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of
going to
sparring,
try
so
to
I'm going to
knock-
stop it.
If I
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
stop it too. So
Okay, so 3 dexterity checks here
3.
between the 3 of you,
Okay.
and I doubt Sashem can do enough damage to knock out Arni in a single blow anyway.
25.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wait, no wait, that's not a save. That was a save, not a check. My bad.
So it would just be minus your proficiency, so it's 22.
Okay, I'm 22.
Mine was 18.
Mine's just a 10.
Yeah, so you almost get in there, but the bow staff of Drak actually kind of slips into the hilt and hand guard and stops you. And Arni, you're probably in so much pain you just don't even.
You really
notice
want to
what-
spar,
that
dude.
just happened.
Prince, just get him to shut up.
Don't
Stop
worry, the drink I gave him,
yelling.
if any of the stuff I gave him to drink gets through, he'll knock out pretty quick.
Make way, make way! What did you say about kobolds?
Oh, you're so
Hey,
loud.
wait.
Mm-hmm. What did you say about kobolds?
Now.
you're too loud.
My friend, you'll have to pardon him. I'm so sorry. He's had a bit to drink. Literally, a bit. But we don't want any trouble.
I would have hoped that Lady Maria's speech yesterday had gotten through to anyone that held resentment like that.
Speaking of, where is she?
Drak is just guarding his bag for his life.
I'm gonna see if he notices that. Yeah, you pulling your bag aside, he looks to you, Drak, and then just smiles.
Where is Lady Maria? Go fetch her. Go fetch Lady Maria.
And one of the attendants does trot down. A short while later, Lady Maria does not appear, but the attendant comes back, drained in the face, and goes up to the captain, which all of you are still around. Doesn't necessarily whisper, but kind of just leans forward and says, Lady Maria is dead. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh,
What?
Maria.
No.
Oh, crap.
You gotta be
Okay.
kidding.
No! No!
Why?
I'm gonna show
No!
him how a true sparring session works.
No! Austin! You didn't, did you? Oh, damn it. Oh, shit.
Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the session.
Oh my gosh.
I
Come on, I can go for another 3 hours.
I cannot.